All right, what's up, everybody, and welcome on back to our afternoon meeting, closing out the week here. Of course, at least this Friday, July 10th. Let's get a quick sound check just to begin. Make sure everyone can hear me loud and clear across the board for our live trading room, and of course, across our social stream. Great to see everybody. Bonnie, Michael, Greg, Jose, Jake, Sharon, Marks, Guy, Stephanie. Great to see everybody joining us here live in Cyber Group, and like I said, live on Facebook Live and YouTube. So without further ado, guys, you can see the Dow trying to squeeze back up higher going into the end of the week here, getting back up towards that 26. For right now, at least, our eyes are on this PSV trade up an astonishing 522%. You guys know my deal at this point. I don't really focus that much on the news. I focus just on the volume. I focus on the trend, the length of this move thus far, of course. So, with this PSV trade, we've been following this, at least after the market opened up. We saw a small gap up this morning going into the market open, but it wasn't on our pre-market watch list. It wasn't on the CTU main, morning watch list at least. But once the market opened, we ended up seeing this PSV trade pretty much just take off, kind of a low volume run up to begin. And then eventually, just once more traders were following it, not just here in the Cyber Group room, but just, universally, ended up making a sharper run up, ended up squeezing higher and higher, essentially up towards 2. Really, though, I have to say, it took a while for this to begin to get halted. And unfortunately now, Jose, who's typing here in our chat board, Jose, is that true? Is that the 13th halt right now? I said that earlier. It was 13, the number I gave. I was, randomly saying the number 13, but I brought up earlier, essentially, just on this trade, this was after like halt number 2 of this PSV run. And at the time, I think, Jose, if I'm not mistaken, you picked up like 25, 30 cents on it. It was a nice catch from you. But that was my worry. I said, I hope this PSV trade just doesn't turn into the type of stock that ends up getting halted like, 13, 15 times over. Because unfortunately, for as much as the stock ran up, and it's been doing a great job already at this point, for as many halts as we have on the way up, I'm telling you guys, the halt on the way down, when there is one, the gap down off the reopen is much bigger compared to the gap that the stock opens up with on the way up. So you got to be careful for a stock like PSV. Of course, for the times that it's halted on the way down, you could see, of course, it's still squeezed up, and here it is halting on the way up now once more. But for as much as this pumps up, it's going to tump right back down, and typically twice as fast. So I'm going to post the news right here, guys, on the social stream and across in the trading group here for PSV. So Hermitage Offshore Services trading higher after the company announced a forbearance agreement, 132.9 million. I wish I had that type of money. Ended up obviously making a historic run up. Now here's the thing: is this all-time highs by any measure? I don't know. I'm just asking out loud. Nah, not all-time highs, but obviously a huge run up already. Is this the type of stock that's been split like 1,000 times over across the last few years? I don't know if it's a split, but this thing has taken a dump off from 2014. This was like a $200 stock. So no surprise, at least now at this point, I should say, seeing the stock make this type of squeeze from like $1 up to $3. We see that happen quite frequently. And for now, we'll put this back on our main list, or put this on our list, I should say. We'll still watch this going into the close. All right, so with that, though, you can see the Dow squeezing up. Perhaps some side list stocks will be added to our list going into the afternoon. We'll check out those just afterwards. I want to jump to the NEO trade, then we'll go right to WIMI, W-I-M-I. Stock ended up doing just as well as the last one there, PSV. So NEO to begin, at least, because of course we've been following this all week, breaking new all-time highs that were set pretty much on day 2 off its IPO. NEO, just a quick history lesson for anyone that's really new. NEO, we ended up trading this back in 2018, but the all-time high, 1380. So really, across the last week and a half, we've been watching this, and it's getting closer and closer to the all-time high. And back on Wednesday, pre-market, it ran up, ended up breaking that all-time high. And of course, here it is today, at least early in the morning, even a new high dumped off shortly after the market opened up. The reason I have 1457 specifically as a line right now, guys, take a look at yesterday's close. 1457, right? Now, a little thing with time and sales here, just really quick, is that it's not just that closing price on the daily chart that I'm looking at. It's the actual big transaction, the market on close print that we have on the time and sales. So I'm going to quickly just show this, and then from there we'll go through the rest of the other trades here. But I just want to show what happened at 4 o'clock yesterday. There we go. A 1,037,000 share print filled at 1457. So, truly in the sense, volume creates support resistance. It wasn't even 1450. That was the level today on this NEO stock. I mean, 1457 has been an absolute magnet to this trade today. And at least for right now, I'll still put this on our main watch list. You would figure, again, as we've been saying here, these afternoon meetings, for a stock like NEO trading 275 milli shares, you'd figure it's going to trade slower in a tighter range, exhaust itself out from the morning drop off. I mean, the markets are squeezing up. So with this holding support, perhaps we'll see this make a sharper run up going into the close. So yeah, NEO, I'll just add to our main list going into the afternoon. 1450 and specifically 1457, a really strong price point today. From Daniel, he's asking here, at least in the trading room, are we supposed to see something? That's not good. If you guys could all see the screen, type the letter Y. If anyone else has issues as well, just let me know. Might just be one of us, and if that's the case, just log out, log back in. That could always be the case. Good? All right. Majority of us, at least in the trading room. So, Daniel, if you could at least hear me, just do a quick log out, log back in. You should be good. He says, thanks, I'm good. All right, perfect. Very nice. So NEO, again, just one from this week that we've been following. Nice short at the market open, and at least for now, holding support pretty nicely. I'll tell you, I said before, I don't really focus much on the news, right? Like that doesn't lead me to make decisions on when and where to buy and sell a stock. I got to tell you though, I mean, if I have the time to look at news and if it's something that's like of personal interest to me, obviously I'll read up on it. This WIMI stock, I thought was like really cool, guys. I mean, the news that came out on it was in relation to augmented reality and hologram type software. So I'll just post like the little headline here on the chat board. There's a whole big article just on Benzinga Pro afterwards. It's like a whole essay. I'm not going to copy and paste that, but the news that came out, I thought it was pretty cool. It had to do with 5G communication, holographic applications, and so forth. But either way, going back to the actual move, WIMI for a stock that was up 100+% going into the open, we're expecting a pullback at 9:30, and that's exactly what happened. Ended up dropping off as soon as the market opened up. But of course, as you can see as well, ended up finding support roughly around the 7 area. Low of the day, of course, 660. But the main volume-based support was off 7. It took a long time for this to begin to build up, but of course, you could see the payoff was bountiful. So this ended up making a very nice run up, breaking an all-time high. I believe this is an actual all-time high as well here for WIMI. Let's see. Yeah. New IPO, I think, back from even 2019. I don't know if it was an OTC stock back in 2019, but I think it was an IPO dating back from August of 19, and then back in April of 2020, it may have been listed on like the NASDAQ. Oh no, here. My apologies. I'm looking at Benzinga Pro right now. So this is the WIMI IPO back from April 1st. So the actual IPO date was April 1st here. Nonetheless, though, this is the only historical data that we have. So, pretty easy to see. An all-time high already for this stock, WIMI, this morning. With there being no historical ceiling, it should allow the stock more room to roam and run up. So, this afternoon, we've seen this make a strong bullish move up towards essentially 10. It held actually 12 cents shy of that next big iceberg level. So that's not as good of a sign to see continuation, in my opinion. That said, I have to say, it's still not making a lower low just yet. It's still making a higher low. So still seems to be somewhat strong. We'll put this back on our list, the WIMI trade, going into our afternoon. All right, so we'll look to see if this can make a pretty quick pop, get back up closer to that 10 level. All right, what we'll do, guys, is go right from top to bottom, at least otherwise. We kind of started number 1 and 2. Number 3, TEDU. Oof, look at this. Nice run up, at least for right now. So another easy pick for us to just put on our list, TEDU. And with that, I guess I'll take the time to look into the news just to see what's going on here. I got no news. How about that? No news from Benzinga Pro, at least on this TEDU stock. So, hey, it doesn't have to be news related to see a stock squeeze up or squeeze down. With that, literally, it could just be a big short squeeze on a low float runner like this. Stock fell off quite a bit over the last few years. Give me a quick sec, guys. Someone's changing the screen here in the Cyber Group room. me one sec. All right, so TEDU, nice pop right near the highs of the day right now, up 46% essentially. So another one that's easy for us to just add to our list. Also, the interesting part about this that I'm seeing right now myself, guys, at least from TradeStation, the stock is shortable. So, of course, we're focused on the run-up. We are not going to just plug a short in right now, but if this doesn't break higher, if this ends up crapping out the other way, as we always say here, in that case, then it could be an interesting little short opportunity then, right? So, you know, it can go both ways, up or down. TEDU, at least we'll add. This one, MATX, up 34%, up big. It also is shortable. Matrix looks pretty empty, though. Looks like it already made a nice run up from earlier today. This one, WAFU, another Chinese stock, ended up making a nice low volume run up, just dumped back down. I mean, that's not surprising, though. And it's not just to say it's a low float stock, but we've seen the stock make these very sharp, short-lived moves in the past, dating back to mid-June. Nice pre-market runner, popped after the open, ended up closing right near its lows. So dumped all the way back down. And then you could see a few other days here, little pump and dump days as well. So no surprise there for this trade, WAFU. John says the WIMI trade popped. There we go. Let's take a look. Right away, John M. in our trading room. There we go. We even missed the break through 10, John. How about that? We just missed the pop right through the iceberg that was there at 10. All right, so I guess WIMI's listening to me here. Cool. Another one, EKSO. We're pretty familiar with this stock as well. You could see going back into late June, ended up making a big gap up in pre-market, popped shortly after the open. Didn't dump back down that day. The next morning, though, it continued higher in pre-market and then slammed back down. So for right now, another one that's easy for us to just add to our list. The spread's big on this one, though, guys. I mean, that's not a surprise for myself. The stock is more of like a level 3 to 4 trade at least. So the spread is going to open up, fluctuate a bit up and down. It'll be a penny or two here. It'll be a 5 or 10 cent spread there. The order book will be fairly thin, but nice trend moving up higher going into the afternoon at least. Oh man, for all the talk I was saying earlier in the trading room, guys, about this being a summer Friday, how for there to be not as much out there. Well, maybe right now this is the, or maybe this was the calm before the storm. We're getting a very strong close perhaps coming up. UAVS still holding pretty strong near the highs. I'll be honest, my gripe on this trade is that there's like too much volume on the order book here for it to for this thing to cut through. I do like that it's near the highs, and for that reason alone, we'll keep this on our list. UAVS. This is one that we were watching leading into the open. Fausto called it out shortly after 9:30. Has a ways to go to try and get up to 2 even, but for right now, we'll keep it in mind. Oof. All right, guys. If there's any other familiar names, I'll just quickly jump to those. I want to see if there's anything on the losers list here. I mean, we're kind of going against the grain if we're going on the loser side. Market's squeezing up nicely. YRCW, familiar name. Ended up, I think we called this out from yesterday. Obviously, we see the big gap up. Probably last week we called it out, but I think yesterday even, I was scanning around going into the afternoon, and this was like breaking a new high. It was doing nothing at the time, as you could see. Took our eyes off it pretty quick. But today, hey, nice continued move up. It looks pretty strong right now. So I feel like if I keep doing this for every stock I look at here, it'll be like a 30 stock watch list. But yeah, for right now, this one will be on there. All right, ALT, at least for right now, this thing seems to have quieted down. All right, guys, if there's anything else that's up that looks good, up 10% plus, just let me know. Hop over to the loser side here, seeing if there's anything looking good over here. ABEO shortable at the lows, super flat. Not worth it. CRVS, same deal. CRVS, we traded from this week. It was shortable at the time that we were following this leading into the market open. Crapped down the other way. It was a fantastic drop-off. Same with CLNE here. Wow. CLNE, at least from the last couple of days, really beginning to pull back. I mean, you could say as it did from yesterday's high. Kind of seems pretty slow, though. I think for these, we'll all pass on. All right, we got a bunch of stuff that is shortable otherwise, though, here. IMGN, same thing, though. WKHS maybe on the squeeze up. This thing took a beating earlier this afternoon. You know what? How about this? I will take a quick look because, you know, we were following this just before. I mean, we can't short this stock. It's hard to borrow. But I was watching this with one of our students just earlier, and I was going over the move, just saying if it was shortable, what to do. And it ended up making a very nice drop off at the time. I didn't check in on the news, though. So what's the news on this? Well, Workhorse shares fall to afternoon following a tweet from short seller Hindenburg Research saying that the firm is short. I can't short WKHS. I guess they can. But, you know, it looks like a big firm is short on WKHS, which led to the sharp drop right away. So for what it's worth, it ended up making a bounce already off of like 1420, the low. I just don't feel as if there's enough room to see this like recover, run all the way back up. I wouldn't expect that at least. So for now, we'll pass. All right. I think that just about does it, guys. Our JMIA trade from the last 2 days dropping off, recovering a bit. Ugh, this one's dead. All right, guys, let me know if there's anything else that looks good that goes across the board for the trading room, across social media here. Let me know if there's anything else. Got our guy Peter on YouTube. Welcome back, Peter, once again saying TEDU, strong volume behind the move. That was 6 minutes ago, so probably before I turned to it. So, yeah, definitely. I think it looks great right now. The PSV tanking, says Judy. Yeesh, uh-oh. I just see the price on the matrix, Judy. Uh-oh. And this is exactly what I'm telling you guys here. These gaps, when it reopens on the way down, in my opinion, at least, I didn't do the math, the numbers, you know, crunching behind it, but you could see these gaps are freaking enormous on the way down. You don't want to get caught at the wrong time on this trade. So, you know, for right now, we'll put it on our main list. If there's, you know, a very clean opportunity to take an entry off this trade going into the afternoon, I'll consider it. For me, at least, that would seem to be like off of 3, or at this point, even probably just the highs, like 305. Just make sure you don't get stuck in a halt, guys. Try and scalp this trade, if anything. Peter saying the airline stocks are pretty strong right now. I mean, the Dow is moving up pretty nicely. The S&P assuming making a very similar move. Mark H in our trading room just says UAL worth watching at 33. Yeah, great call. And Peter mentioned Save, so I'm assuming, you know, all of these airlines probably making a similar move. I'll just check in actually just on the just checking on the sector. Jets. If you see a pop coming up on Jets, you gotta figure the rest of the sector will make a somewhat similar move. So this is the airline ETF, so you can see the airlines are moving all up today. Peter called out Save, which, you know, obviously right there. UAL, I think, looks a little bit sharper literally at this point right now. So, you know, maybe just collectively I just throw airlines entirely on there. All good calls. I feel like if that's the case, then maybe I just do the same right with the cruise lines. NCLH not looking as sharp. I know that Michael said RCL was flying earlier today. It did. It made a really nice pop, this RCL trade, Royal Caribbean Cruise. You know, I saw CCL really quick. Just this was on the gainers list yesterday, whereas the others weren't. CCL made a pretty sharp pop too. Pretty flat right now, though. All right, guys, you know what? I think we're going to call it. It's a summer Friday, like I said, right? So hopefully, hey, you know, we've had, I'll tell you, this week entirely, Monday to Thursday, the afternoon's been hot. Really strong closes, guys. If it's not one stock on our list, it's something that will scan around 330, right? So I don't want to jinx it by saying that, but we've had a really strong week thus far. Even though it's a summer Friday, might have a really strong close here ahead of us, guys. So let's start and stick with this list. If there's anything else that makes a huge news-related pop, you know, we'll call it out at that point. We have our alerts. We have Benzinga Pro. We'll be on the ball. But let's try and start and stick with this list, guys. It will give us a really good opportunity to try and catch a nice move going into this next hour ahead. All right, guys, aside from that, as I always say, and especially even more so after yesterday, let's try and close out this day. Let's try and close out this week just as well as we had opened it up. For anyone tuning in on social media, if you'd like to learn more about Cyber Trading University, just make sure that you guys call the phone number down below. And at least from that point, one of our education advisors will just pick up, provide more detail. All right, guys, take care. I'll talk to you all in at least our trading room very shortly. Take care, guys.